Hey Dan,
What's up, Carolyn? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Good. Ready to talk about BoneZone Magazine?
Absolutely. I went to the printer today, so
Yeah.
now's a good time.
Awesome. So, as I was thinking or as I was reading the magazine, really there were two things that I took away from it. One, I think it will provide readers truly actionable advice on how to work with your partners in the face of today's geopolitical and supply chain uncertainties. And two, it's a great precursor for OMTEC, which is our conference coming up next month in Chicago. If you're watching this, we hope that you've registered. If you haven't yet, you can do that at omtechexpo.com. But those were my two takeaways. So you did a lot of interviews for this issue. We're handing out the inaugural OMTEC Awards in June. Can you speak just a little bit about the companies you profiled?
Absolutely. That was one of the exciting things about putting this issue together is kind of presenting the award winners for the first time, to our readership. First company we talked to is J&J MedTech, the winners of the Next Gen Innovator Award. Is really based on their development of the VELA Spine platform, which is it features a standalone navigation system and also an active robotics system. But the real story was their collaboration with Essential Robotics to design and build and commercialize the platform. That cross-industry collaboration really creates a blueprint for, innovation in the future. Next, we spoke to Foundation Surgical, which won the award for groundbreaking device design. It was based on their design of the Vertiwedge, the first 3D printed FDA-cleared Class 2 device for preserving motion in the spine. And then finally, we talked to Novus. They're the winners of the Bold Leadership Award, and it's a well-deserving honor. Last year they cracked $1 billion for the first time in recon sales, and their future looks bright. They're based on strategic M&A deals, and just their development of enabling technology, and also they've created a workplace culture that is attracting some of the top minds in orthopedics who want to be part of building the future of orthopedic care. So, it was an exciting conversation, and we're really looking forward to honoring them in person next month at OMTEC during an award ceremony.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely looking forward to it. And there will be a panel discussion with these three companies as well at OMTech. So another one of the articles you wrote is what I'm going to call like an opus on supplier solutions. You interviewed a handful of companies in an effort to provide OEMs advice on how to tackle supply chain challenges, and especially in these uncertain times when we're talking about the potential for tariffs, or we do have tariffs in place, but potentially higher tariffs. What are maybe two or three of the pieces of guidance you can give our audience that you took away from those interviews?
Yeah, I really enjoyed those conversations with some of our contract manufacturers and suppliers. They provided some real depth insights and thoughts on the current industry and how they're responding to some of the challenges. First of all, I think the overall orthopedic market has shown consistent growth. But what they were seeing on the manufacturing side was, a slowdown at the end of last year, which spilled over into the first quarter of this year, in terms of demand for inventory. OEMs were working through some of the bloated inventory from the pandemic. So, you know, business was down, but each of them indicated that the first and second quarters of this year has seen an uptick in demand for projects, and so they're excited about the second half of this year and what that means. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of uncertainty around the tariff situation, the on again, off again policies of the United States. So that's really impacting access to the materials they need to produce devices, and they're reading and reacting as much as most of us are in terms of reading the news and deciding what to do. But they each the the contract manufacturer we spoke to said that it creates an opportunity actually to return to the roots, to strengthen your supply chains, to make sure that your policies and practices are in place to not make the supply chain longer, but to make it stronger, and to, take this opportunity to position themselves to meet the needs of customers moving forward in the future, because uncertainty is inevitable. This is just the latest. And, they were talking about the opportunity in it instead of the challenges. But that article was really, really enjoyable to put together. It was great talking to, the people who are on the front lines of dealing with some of the current landscape in orthopedics. And, I just, like you said, there's a lot of actionable advice in there. I'm excited for people to read it.
Great. Sounds very insightful.
Carolyn, I'm going to throw it to you. You wrote a great article on the way AI is, changing the dynamics for procurement teams. It's expected to transform supply chain management by streamlining tasks and identifying efficiencies. Tell me more about that.
Sure. I mean, we all know, right, that AI has become quite the buzzword, but as you mentioned, companies are investigating the best uses of AI for their business. And from what we've heard, this tool, AI, it could potentially transform supply chains. It can help with demand projections, it can help with supplier selection, inventory management, and really the ability to identify potential productivity disruptions. So I spoke to a gentleman, Vikas Yadav of GEP. They're a company that offers AI-powered procurement and supply chain services and software. And he shared advice on how to be successful with AI implementation. First, the technology should be used in a way that's going to match your business goals. Second, right, you need to have clean data, which is often the biggest hiccup for companies who have, information stored in multiple systems, right, that aren't talking to each other. And then third, you really do need to properly train your workforce and have people with true responsibility around data management. So those were some of his pieces of advice, but then he really got into maybe some of the very basic tools that you can implement at a low level, and then ways that you can, really take advantage of these more advanced algorithms to do things like I mentioned, potentially forecast disruptions down the line. So I think it was a really interesting conversation. He's actually going to be speaking at OMTEC on this topic as well, which, certainly looking forward to hearing more from him there. And he'll be providing some case studies based on companies, medical device companies that they've worked with. So a lot of great, a lot of great advice. So, before we wrap up here, who was the Ortho Innovator for the June issue?
Yeah, it was a great one. I was really thrilled and honored to talk to Dr. Louis Zirkle, the founder of Sign Fracture Care International. It's a organization that provides resources and education to underserved areas of the world to improve the care of patients who don't get the fracture care they need. And Terry Smith, the engineering manager of Sign, joined him for really in-depth conversation about how the program launched, their efforts across the world, and some of the fulfillment they get out of it. It's you read the stats. Sign is in 60 countries, 400 plus hospitals. They've treated more than 400,000 patients, but it's just the emotion that these two gentlemen showed about, the individual human side of this. They told stories about patients having to bring gas to the hospitals just to power the generators for their own surgery. So, it's a really fulfilling and inspiring program that I was honored to talk to both. And I must say they're going to be also at OMTEC, exhibiting, and so attendees can stop by, say hello, talk to these inspiring people, and learn more about how they might be able to help the program.
Yeah, they're absolutely living examples of why people get into the orthopedic industry in the first place. And
Yeah,
why
well
why
said.
it continues, why people have such longevity in this industry as well.
Yeah, it was a wonderful conversation. Thanks just for people to read about it and check out the interview on our YouTube channel.
Great. Well, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it, Dan.
That was great. Good to see you.
Yeah, and thanks to those watching. We look forward to sharing the June issue with you. We'll put links to subscribe to the magazine and our newsletter in the description below. We'd love if you liked this video and subscribe to our channel. We have more great Bone Zone interviews as well as orthopedic market analysis and education from OMTEC 2025 coming to the YouTube channel here in the next few weeks. Have a good one.